Okay, this has about a 90-second delay, so maybe in just a second this will start. I am using Acam today because I like to use slides one time a week. So that's what we're doing. Okay, cool. We are on and it is 11, and so we're going to get started right now. Okay, so I'm going to pop this on so I can see the comments. Otherwise, I can't see your comments. And I hope everybody is having a good start to your weekend. I hope actually you're taking time off this weekend. This is the only thing I'm doing this weekend in my business. I probably will answer a couple of messages and then I'm going to relax because I've had a really long week. And I hope that you are doing the same because we do need to take some time out of our business and relax and rest, and that allows us to get better ideas. I think it allows us to refresh ourselves so we have creative energy to move forward to the next week. Hi, everybody. If you don't know me yet, my name is Leanne, and this is my little group. And we are a really engaging and positive bunch, which I love. I get a lot of people that say they're in other groups and they're kind of negative, and then they come to mine, and it's a breath of fresh air, which I love because I think the personality of the group takes on the personality of the person that's involved and in charge. So I'm excited that people like this group because that means that you probably like me too. If you don't, I'm sorry. I hope that I can win you over. So let's get rolling with this because this is something that annoyed the snot out of me when I first started my business, and something that really kept me back from when I was starting out and doing sales calls. And I had never really done sales calls before except in person. I sold some Mary Kay cosmetics back when I was in my early 20s. I'm not early 20s anymore. This has been a long, long time. And I was pretty good at selling cosmetics, but it was all done in person. There wasn't really an internet per se. There was, but it was really new. And people didn't sell anything over the internet. You had parties and you had in-person things. So I was really good at that and really good at selling in person, but I wasn't adept on sales calls. And I actually hated them for a very long time. I'm going to talk about that too. But I had some failures in my business when I first started, and I never liked overcoming objections. I never liked the process of it, and I never liked people doing it with me. So I'm going to move forward a slide. This is my big reveal. If you don't know anything about me, I've been in business for several years, but I had a lot of failures. I had 30 failed sales calls in a row where I had no, 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 over and over and over. I also had people say yes, and then they would back out. I had 8 months of no's. And I felt helpless. I was using every trick. I was doing everything my coach said. I was failing and failing and failing, and I felt like I was never going to succeed. Now, that might be you for a while, or that may be something that you can relate to early in your business, but maybe you've moved past that and you're able to get clients, but perhaps they're not the right clients for you, or perhaps you're getting clients that are not working as hard as they could be. So what I want to do today is open up your mind to a different method. And this is a really science-based method. It's psychology and science-based, and it's actually relates to how women buy. Because women don't buy the same way as men, and our brain works differently, right, than what people are selling to us. So I was failing over and over because I was doing every trick, every sales script trick. And the tricks worked, but they worked temporarily. So I would have someone say yes, and then they would ghost me. Or I would have someone get on the phone with me, and then I was like a bloomin' mess, right? And I would use the script, and the script felt really unnatural. I'm a very gregarious person. I like to ask a lot of questions. I'm a very extroverted person. I have a ton of friends through every time in my life, and I felt so stilted and unauthentic when I would use these sales scripts. And I would do everything my coach said, and I would fail, 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 fail. It was absolutely ridiculous. So maybe you can relate, right? Maybe you've used a sales script, and you've actually been on calls where someone's used the sales script on you. And I want you to think about how you felt when the script was used on you. So we're going to try to put ourselves in our client's shoes. But this is my big reveal because people go, oh, you had this great month and everything's going great for you, Leanne. Everybody likes you, blah, blah, blah. They didn't like me. They didn't want my stuff. They didn't want to buy from me. It was ridiculous, right? I felt so demoralized because I failed and I was doing the things they told me to. This was not, I was like everybody's ideal client because I would put things into action. I was unafraid, but it didn't work. Okay. So I was tired of talking to somebody and like convincing them. I want to convince you to work with me. I want to push you to work with me. I felt like every time somebody said I had to think about it, I wanted to just let them think about it because I like to think about it. I want to just let them go and get in the flow. But my coach was telling me, no, you need to overcome these objections, overcome these objections. And I was like, I don't want to convince anyone to work with me anymore. If they do, they do. If they don't, they don't. There's got to be a better way. So I started taking courses, right? That's what you do. You take courses because you think there's a magic messaging strategy out there. So I took messaging courses, I took coaching, I had sales coaches. They were all good and they taught me like a little snippet. Every one of them was good for a short period of time, but they didn't have a cohesive thing that it needed to really attract people. So I wasn't pushing people. And so I have a special needs son. He's on the autism spectrum. He is now 21 years old. So this was when he was really little. And he had a lot of delays and a lot of brain delays, a lot of academic delays. And I had been studying the brain because he needed certain therapies and he needed certain academic help that I did. Like I tutored him much of his life where we would do these programs and they were designed to use all the areas of the brain because his brain doesn't work like the rest of our brains do. It has problems kind of communicating. Like parts of the brain don't work with other parts of the brain. That's a lot of times what happens with an autism spectrum kid is parts of their brain are not as developed as others and they're not communicating the same way. So I'd been studying the brain for a long, long time, and I knew that there was something there that could help me attract people to my business without having to convince them on a sales call. So content programs that I took did not work because they didn't understand how the human brain works. They were ineffective, like they were just like fluff, or they used manipulation, right? Or they had a formula, but the formula didn't work. So there's two issues with most content problems. The brain is complex. And bro marketers out there, women buy differently than men. And we've been listening to bro marketing sales techniques and using sales techniques by bro marketers for too long. And I would love for us to stop. Okay. So first of all, women buy differently. We don't act the same way when we're buying. I want you to think about if you've ever been to a shopping trip, and maybe this is more like anybody that's 30 and older, you've been on a shopping trip with a guy. And a guy goes in and they want shoes. They know exactly the kind of shoes they're going to get. They get them and they get out. It's like the best you can find, and now we want to get out. We don't want to stay in the store very long. Now, if a woman is looking for shoes, though, if she has an idea, she's going to shop around. She's going to shop to several different places. Maybe she's going to price compare. She's going to compare the quality of the merchandise. She wants to think about it. She wants perfection in her sales or in her purchase. She's going to ask more questions. She needs a longer sales process to make a decision because a bro marketer is going to tell you, right, that you just need to close these people. You got to get them in. You got to get them in. Like it's an impulse buy. That is not how women buy. She needs to get to know you and she needs to get to know your program more before she purchases. So we're going to stop the bro marketing always be closing. I want us to think about that ABC thing. It doesn't work with women. It just doesn't work, right? So we could think about it always be inviting. That's inviting someone into your world, inviting someone into your programs, but closing someone and getting them to close right there on the phone when they're not ready will result in you seeming pushy and icky. And that happening to you on the phone will also seem pushy and icky if done in the wrong way. So we need to be careful about that. And we need to think about how women buy. Okay, so then the second part is we need to understand the brain because the brain has several levels to it. And the levels of our brain are not being stimulated by the content, most content out there. There is a logic side of your brain. That's kind of the left side. That's what we generally think about. This is a very general overview. The left side of your brain thinks in black and white. It's very mathematic. It has music. It's got the music function. So let's say playing an instrument where you have the different chords that you're changing and the things that you're thinking about technically. Those are stored in your short-term memory, in your logic center of your brain. Emotions colors, stories, and long-term memory is stored in the right part of your brain. And the prefrontal cortex is where your executive function lives. That's where most of the decision making, the organization happens in your life and in your business. And then there's the amygdala, which is more of the reptilian brain. And again, this is very general. This is not specific at all. Amygdala, it houses that part where your adrenal glands are, and the fight or flight instinct takes shape. So when we understand the parts of the brain, right, we need to appeal to all 4 of these parts. And most content strategies don't. They don't have logic and emotions. They might just have the emotions, but they don't have the logic to go along with it. They don't empower the person to make an executive function prefrontal cortex decision, which is one of actually the weakest places in the brain. That's like the last place that you go to. But we have to approach these things in our brain very carefully. And the last thing is this fight or flight complex and this fight or flight reflex that we have when we're being sold to. We don't want to be sold to. And so what we do is we put up a boundary and we say, I'm going to just resist this, and I'm going to resist your content as much as I can, because if I feel like I'm being pushed at all, my amygdala, my fight or flight response is going to go off, and I'm going to reject you and move on. I'm going to go with something that makes me feel safe. How do I feel safe? You have to appeal to the rest of the areas of the brain, the logic, the emotions, and the prefrontal cortex. And all 3 of those things are important. And when you leave them out of your content, it will make someone not buy from you because you're not appealing to every area of the brain. I know that seems really complex, but I'm going to talk about it a little bit more as we go. What you're doing is you're trying to speak in stories so that emotions can happen and start the decision-making process. So stories about them, stories about you, stories about your clients that reassure them, right, that this thing that they're wanting and feeling and dreaming of is possible for them. Then the logic takes shape in how you describe your programs. If you were only describing the emotions, you're going to get to 10K and it's going to be awesome and you're going to have a private jet and all the things that go along with that without logically explaining to them how your program works. This logic part of your brain is going to reject this because it's going to communicate with the amygdala, and the amygdala is going to say, nope, this doesn't make any sense. You need to flee away from this person. If you don't appeal to the prefrontal cortex with the executive function, also with the how of your program, you don't have the final decision maker in the room. It's like going to a company and selling something to the secretary, but the president is the one that holds the purse strings and is not, the secretary can't buy this $1 million thing from you. You haven't convinced the right person in the room. So all of these things are in the room with your client. They're all in their brain housing. And we need to appeal to this. And some people do it really intuitively. Some people do it that have been in marketing a while and they understand the psychology of all this. But a lot of people don't do it well. They leave out one or more of these things. I even see people that do a lot of these well. They'll leave out one thing. And I'm thinking to myself, that's what's restricting you from getting to your next level. It just is. So they could be much, much bigger than they are if they included all of these things. I know that's kind of complex. We'll come back to it. So we're going to write posts to address all areas of the brain. So we're going to start or end with stories. We're going to have stories that appeal to the brain. We're going to have the how-to. That's the how your program works. We're going to reassure that prefrontal cortex that's making the decision. We're going to reassure them with some social proof, with some ways that we've done things either ourselves or with other people. And we're going to reassure that fight or flight response that we are safe to work with. Those are the 4 things that we need. Okay, so we're going to write posts to address all of those things. We're going to understand the brain. We're going to understand the woman, and we're going to understand her objection. We'll get to the objections in a minute. But those 3 things are key to making your posts be irresistible. I get at least 2 to 3 people reaching out every single time I post. Every time. And they're usually ready to do something with me. Usually it's my private one-on-one, which is why I'm pretty much booked out now. But if that was possible for you, right, would you do it? Would you take the time to learn this method? because it does work. I will tell you it works, and it works better than jumping on a call and trying to sell someone something that is resistant to you. You will feel like you are spinning your wheels when you are doing sales calls when they are not pretty much pre-sold. Let's move on. So we're going to overcome these objections in posts, and I'm going to get to the objections in a minute. But most of the time, the things I see in posts, we are not gearing them towards the person. We're giving them either how-tos, we're doing a lot of quotes, which we need to stop doing quotes, or we're talking a lot about our programs. We are not actually overcoming their objections. We need to be thinking about what those objections are and make sure each post is geared towards one or more of those objections. Over time, you will overcome all of them. One person might jump on it immediately, and they might say, wow, this is incredible, because only that one objection was what they had to you. But what usually has to happen is you have to write multiple posts to address all of those objections and write them enough that they can see you are the one that they need to work with. This was something that changed my business. I did some of these other things, but when I started thinking about each post having a actual strategy to it that overcame objections before I got people on phone calls, this was what changed my business. This is what made me go from about, I don't know, like maybe 10% close rate on my sales calls to probably almost everybody that I get on the phone with now says yes. They say yes, and some of them can't afford me right away, which is fine. But most people say yes right on the phone call. And I don't keep people usually ghosting me. They'll tell me one way or the other if they don't want to work with me, or later on they come back in because they've seen my posts over and over and over. And maybe on the phone call, their objections were not completely handled because they hadn't seen me enough. So once they do start seeing me more, they come into my business and then they want to work with me. So objections. I'm going to move this out of the way so you can see objections here. These are the main 4 objections everybody has to you, and these have to do with the different parts of the brain, okay? The first one is, I don't trust you are the right one to help me. I don't trust you're the right one to help me because I don't know you enough. I haven't seen your stuff enough. I don't know your face enough. I haven't seen what you've been able to do. I've been burned before, right? So I don't want to trust you yet, and I want you to prove yourself to me. If you're getting on the phone with people and they're like, I'm just shopping around, right? That's their objection. They don't trust you're the right one to help them. They are looking around at other people. What you want to do is remove that objection with your posts. So if you find that you're getting on the phone with a lot of people that are just interviewing you, you need to adjust your content to actually show them in the right way that you are the right one to help them. And there's ways to do that, again, revealing how you work, revealing how your programs work, revealing how you've worked with other people, actually talking to them about why you're different and what they need you for. So for instance, if you worked with me, right, you may have worked with other coaches on content before, but I will tell you right now, they don't have all of my knowledge of the brain and of psychology and of how the brain works, plus how women buy. I guarantee you they don't know it the same way I do. I know they don't. And I'm a former copywriter, so I'm a former pro copywriter. I can help you adjust your stories so that they are compelling, but not too long, right? So those things help other people realize, right? They're seeing my content and they want their content to be just as good. So it's not a huge leap for people to say, oh, I see how she could help me. Look at that content. This content is compelling. It's long and it's keeping me on the edge of my seat till the very end. The second objection is I don't trust myself. That's internal factors. I haven't gotten this done yet. I feel bad about myself. I feel shame, guilt. I feel like a failure, kind of like myself, right? I didn't trust myself on the front end to do these sales calls because I was not succeeding. These were internal factors that I was deciding, right, that it wasn't going to work, and so it didn't work. But also, there was also external factors for me too. But your client may not trust themselves. So what needs to happen in your content is you need to say things like, this is not your fault, right? Deciding isn't enough. I'm going to help guide you through this. You don't have to be alone, right? You're not going to just be floundering on your own trying to figure this out. I'm going to help hold your hand through this. You won't be alone and you will get results because it doesn't matter what's happened in the past. We're going to leave that in the past and I'm going to guide you into the next area and you can trust yourself to get this done. Also because it's not that difficult, right? I'm going to show you the easy way. It's not going to be that hard and I'm not going to make it hard on you. So 3 would be the external factors. It's something keeping me from succeeding. That would be my relationships, time factors, something that would be like on the outside, like what if something happens to me? I've got an autoimmune disease. Am I going to be able to do this with an autoimmune disease? It's going to keep me from succeeding. Or my program isn't good enough, and so it's going to keep me from succeeding. Those are external factors, and so we need to reassure our audience and our clients that yes, you can succeed because this is not going to take a lot of time. This doesn't take a ton of money. It has an ROI that's huge for you. You're going to do this once and for all, right? You don't need me forever. You will succeed. I'll show you how to do this with your relationships. I'll show you how to do this through your food intake. I'll show you how to do this through being more spiritual in your business or having more ease in your business. I will show you how to do this, and it will not be that hard. And so number 4, I don't trust your program can get me results. And your program coaching, right? I don't trust your program. There's 2 levels to this. First of all, you're not revealing what you do and how you do it step by step. And number 2, you don't have enough social proof or you're not talking about your own transformation enough that people believe it. Okay, so all 4 of these things should go into our content in order to overcome these objections before you get them on the call. So all of these things go into one of those objections you often get, which is I'm shopping around. I have to ask my husband. That's something keeping me from succeeding, right? So that external factor is going to keep me from succeeding. If my husband says no, then I can't do this with you, right? So it's also a little bit of I don't trust myself. So are you going to talk to that part of them that doesn't feel worthy and doesn't feel like that they deserve this? Or are you going to talk to them are you just going to leave that out of your content? I hope that you talk to them and make them realize that you need to talk to your husband and tell him, right, that this is something necessary for your business. This is something necessary for you to have a great life or necessary for me to be able to retire you, right, later on. So all of those objections that come up, whether it's I can't afford you, right, that would be some like I don't trust you're the right one to help me. I can't afford you. I don't trust you're the right one to help me, or they really don't have enough money. And if they don't have enough money, we need to stop getting on the call with those people. We need to pre-qualify them and see if they're ready to invest and see if they're ready to solve their problem once and for all. So we're targeting different clients at different stages of their journey. So if they don't trust you're the right one to help them, you haven't communicated who this is for and what stage of their problem or at what stage of their aspiration they're in. You haven't communicated that well enough, and you're going to need to go back into your social media content and do it there instead of on the phone. Okay, so you're going to make your offer clear and logical. If your offer is not clear and logical, and I see a lot of them, then you will lose this person. I have been on the phone on a sales call with a coach that was trying to sell to me recently, and I kept asking, how does your program work? How does your program work? And I got a very vague kind of thing. And I had been on a call with another coach, and she was very clear. This is how we'll do things. It's a 3-month program. Each week we'll go through these things. We'll do an hour call. This is how we'll work on it. This is what you'll accomplish at the end, etc. It was very clear. It was very logical. It had a step-by-step method, and I understood it completely. All of my brain was really happy, right? The prefrontal cortex was like, "Woo, we're good." Amygdala was like, "Yeah, this totally makes sense." Okay, so amygdala felt safe. Emotions were good. Logic took care of the rest of it, and everything in my brain was super happy, right? So what is a great offer, and how do you communicate it well? You want to say who it's for. This is for women who are in their business, have been in their business for 2 years. They're making at least $10K a month. They don't have systems in place to be able to move to the next level. And they want to move to at least 20 to 25K a month with ease and flow. They want to be able to hire a team. They want to be able to have everything work automatically in the background so they are not doing things by hand or piecemealing this to fiber. And then you're going to say how it works. First, we'll look at all your systems that you have in place and we'll look at all the holes. We will get systems together for your particular business and customize it to you. I'll help you hire your team, or I'll help you look for the right team and look for the right people that you need to supplement the things that you're doing already and doing currently. And then the last step would be I will help set up systems and policies and procedures so that anyone you hire on your team is fully equipped. And if you need to step away from your business for a few days, the business does not go awry. Okay, that's a really clear offer, right? You understand exactly who it's for, where they want to get to, and how it works. That's what needs to happen in your social media posts. Now we're going to talk about all the steps that can go into overcoming these objections. You're going to honor your client's emotions and buying style, okay? Your emotions when you get sold to, right? Your emotions when you get sold to, they're on high alert. Unless you're ready to buy, when you get on the phone with somebody, you're always kind of scared. Are they going to pressure me, right? Your guard is up. I've been there. I understand that, right? So we need to let our audience and our clients get to know you through your posts. If they're ready to buy, you know what? Great. Get on the phone. Let's let you buy. But most of the time, right, we're kind of on a mission of we're trying to fish around. I wonder how much she is, or I wonder what she offers, or I wonder how I can work with her. I'm going to have to get on the phone. Like, I really don't want to do that. I just want to make a decision on my own, right? Make it clear through your posts, right? Make it clear. If you want to, reveal your prices. I know that's not conventional wisdom, but reveal your prices if you want to. I think I'm going to be much more open with my pricing in a little bit because I'm about to raise my prices. So I usually get on the phone with people before I tell them my price, and they're always surprised that it's lower than they thought, right? Because I undercharge and I overdeliver. I'm about to go up with my prices because I'm really full. But most of the time, right, you could just be more transparent. You could just talk about the way that you work and talk about how you work, and maybe even say, you know, it starts at this amount of money or whatever, so that people know what you offer. And it's like calming everybody down so they don't have to hop on the phone with you just for a looky-loo. They know everything that they need to know before they get on the phone with you, and then they don't have to be sold to. So allow her time to get to know you. And if she really wants to go think about it, right, you don't have to overcome that objection. There's a lot of other people out there. And if you love overcoming objections, you know what? More power to you. That's not my thing. I don't like it, and I'm never going to do it. So I'm never going to show people, you know, the pain and churn the pain, because I don't like being done that way too either. When I get on the phone with someone, in fact, that happened to me recently. I was like, just get to how I can work with you. And she kept like going over and over her little script. And I was like, I bought it anyway, but I didn't like the script. I didn't like being churned. I was ready to buy. Like, just allow your people time to buy, right? You don't have to churn their pain. What would happen if you don't come in with me, right? What will happen in your business? What will happen in your life? Won't you be stuck in the same place? Like, I'm like, I don't know. Maybe not, right? Maybe I'll go in with somebody else and I'll solve my problem there. So don't do that to people. I don't like it. If you love it and it's working for you, you know what? More power to you. Not my style. It's probably not. You're probably not my ideal client if that's what you want to do, honestly. Handle your objections to the social media posts. She can trust you. She can trust herself. She can trust your program. And the outside forces are redundant. They don't matter. You are going to help her get results no matter what the outside forces are, whether there's a hurricane outside or there's peaceful, balmy weather, there's COVID-19, or we're all well. You are going to help her get results. Moving on. Okay, so we're going to treat your client like a sharpshooter, not like a cowboy. What does that mean? Cowboys take out their guns, they're shooting and everything, right? You watch Westerns and they're shooting them up. And half the time they're missing constantly. But when you see a sharpshooter in a Western, you know, they aim and then they get it. Like, they know it's a target and they're going to get it. So she needs time to aim. And aiming means she's going to purchase or buy your services or hire you as a coach. Your post should allow her to hone in on what she wants, right? I think of cowboys as like, you know, they're just like guys, like shooting everything. So stop checking in all the hate and just checking in, right? And you said you wanted to work with me. I'm checking in. I'm checking in. Like, just ease off, right? You could even say, hey, I really enjoyed our call. I'm going to do a couple of free trainings. Would you like to be tagged on that? She's going to say, sure, I'd love to be tagged on that, right? Because who wouldn't want some free information? Like, most of the time, we chase people down. Most of the time, we just hammer them over the head. It's like, no, don't do that anymore, right? Don't check in. If she doesn't want to come in, she'll tell you if she wants to come in. She'll say, hey, I really want to come in. She will not be able to resist it any longer. So if you continue to check in with her, right, it screams desperation, number one. But just be giving and just say to her, hey, I really appreciated our call. I would like to offer you, I've got this great free training coming up. Is there something, a question you're really curious about blank? And then you could say, and she'd say, yeah, I'm curious about this. It's great. Great. I'm going to do a live stream on this. I'm going to tag you when I'm done. Is that okay? Right? I hope you have a great day. Right? That's different than, hey, I'm checking in. Don't you want to come in with me? Here's the link again. Like, no, please stop doing that. This is not how your person thinks or feels or works. It feels icky. So don't do it. Just keep posting and overcoming these objections to let her see that you're the best. And what you could do is also go in and comment on her stuff, like her stuff. Don't do it because you're like a mercenary, but do it because you're giving and you care about her and you care about her results. Moving on. Be consistent. This is something that people do have problems with because they think I'm going to post 3 or 4 times and then I'm going to get everybody into my business and everybody's going to want to work with me. I will say during those 8 months, I went live a lot. I went live, I think it was like 90 days in a row I went live. And if you will post every day, if you will explain clearly who you are and who you serve and your prices and how it works, if you keep pretty much saying the same thing in different ways, right, that appeal to all of the brain, that really show up so that she can judge and make sure that you're the right one for her, you will get clients. You will. You should love getting on sales calls. I do. I like it. I'm like, oh, good. I have a sales call. And sometimes I get on a call and I think it's just like a connection call, and it ends up to where they ask me in the middle of it, how can I work with you, right? I don't even know it's supposed to be sales. It's like almost like I'm just answering some questions or we're just connecting over coffee, and all of a sudden it turns into this really great conversation about how they want to work with me. When your client is pre-sold, the call is just to see if your personalities fit, right? This should be fun. It should feel friendly and like a natural conversation. That is how women buy. Men buy by kind of being sold to. Women buy in a different way. They already have pre-decided that they want to work with you. Now you can talk them out of it, right? And some people do on the sales call. You can talk them out of it by being unclear of what you're going to give them in result-wise, but they don't have to be this really horrible, heavy thing where you have to overcome every single one of their objections. You don't like to be pushed. She doesn't like to be pushed. Put yourself in her position and treat her with care. And stop getting on calls with people who aren't ready to invest. This is a waste of your time and a waste of their time. And they could be served by your free content before you get on a call, right? If they're not ready to invest, just ask them, are you ready to invest? Or have you talked to your husband already? Or do you already have clients and already have money to invest? And they will say to you one way or the other, right? And if they're not ready, just say, hey, that's great. I have so much free content out there. I'd love to tag you on a couple of videos. Would that be okay? Or you could send them to someone that is ready to help them at a lower price point or maybe more of it at a beginner level. I don't use a script. And I have a script that I can give people when they come into my business, but for the most part, I let her do most of the talking. I tell her the results she's going to get, but I don't really reveal like how many worksheets. Like they usually say yes before they even know how many calls they get. They usually say yes before they even know if it's a group program or a one-on-one. So you could book the appointment on the call. You could book the follow-up on the call. Don't push her into a decision. I know that goes against the conventional wisdom of let's overcome all these objections, but I will tell you if she's not ready, it will backfire on you. And it's backfiring on a lot of people out there. I don't want that to happen to you. I want to make sure that the people that come into your business, and this is for a specific person, right? This is for a person that doesn't like handling objections on the call. I don't. And so my ideal clients usually don't either. But I don't think that's something that we have to really push about. I think most of the time our clients can come pre-sold, and we can even close them over Messenger if we need to. I closed 2 clients last week over Messenger. They didn't need a long sales call. I just told them the deal and told them the price, and they were like, yeah, that's what I want to do right away. I want that for you. I don't want you, if you are this person, if you're like me and you don't like to be pushed and you don't want to push, right? You don't have to. You really don't. A consult can feel like a wonderful experience to someone. It can feel like a very empowering experience. If you want to handle the objection on the call, you need to ask permission before you do it. You need to say to your person, can I have permission to just address this like a coach would? And I'm going to tell you kind of what's going on here. I will warn you, though, that can backfire on you. So only do it if you feel like that person is ready to hear what you have to say. If not, there are many, many people out there, and there are many people that could be your client. And I really recommend, and I love the fact that my content now handles my objections before I get on the call. And I usually close on the call. They are usually ready to go. And if they aren't, right, I don't push them, because every single time I have done that, my client has not worked for me. They didn't work for me. They did their own thing, and they didn't get great results. And so when my client signs with me, they're ready and they show up. They don't ghost me on their appointments. They pay their bills. They get great results, and I get great testimonials. But when I was pushing, I didn't get good results. I might have gotten a few clients that way, but I didn't get them great results. So I highly encourage you to use your social media posts and use all of those areas of the brain. Use the things that I've talked about on how making your offer really clear, getting to know you in a deep way, overcoming those objections of external and internal factors. And is this program going to work for me? And are you the right person to help me? All of those things can go into your social media, and go into them in a way that pre-sells your person. So if you want help with this, if you're thinking, man, this is really good, but I have no idea even where to start, terrific. I can help you sort your messaging. I can help you pre-sell your offer. My clients normally book anywhere from 3 to 4 clients in the first 2 weeks of coming in with me, because they know, right? They know how to do this, and they know how to do this in the easy way that removes some barriers for your clients, okay? So I want to help you. And so if you want some help for this, I want you to post clients, and let's get in Messenger and let's talk a little bit about your business and about what's going on and about what you want and your goals. And we'll see if this would be something that would be beneficial to you. And if not, then that's okay. We'll have a little conversation. It will be no pressure, and I will guide you to the right thing. So let me know if you want one of these. Just drop clients in the comments. I'm going to tag everybody that told me they want to be tagged. And I've had people come in and out, so I have no idea who's on here. I can't really see. It doesn't really have them on the comments. So I hope everybody has a wonderful day and got a lot out of this training. And hope you have a great weekend and take some time off. We'll talk soon. Bye.